Is watermelon a berry or fruit? Berries are a sweeter and juicy fruit, and when we talk of berries, then strawberries are the first which come in our mind. There are different kinds of berries such as blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, gooseberries and others, but not actually the strawberries. Have you ever thought the same for watermelon too? Is watermelon a berry? Definitely we all are unaware of this thing, but in reality watermelon is a berry. Here in this article I will discuss in detail about watermelon as a berry and watermelon growing tips as well. What is considered a berry? Berries are small edible fruits, or a berry is a fleshy fruit which is produced from a single ovary. According to this definition, oranges, blueberries, kumquats and even tomatoes fall under the berry family. Our discussion started from strawberries, and everyone must know that strawberries are among the accessory fruits, so we cannot say that strawberries are berries. Is watermelon a fruit or a berry? Watermelon is a large edible fruit which is grown mainly in tropical and subtropical regions around the world. Watermelon is actually a special kind of a berry. It has hard rind with no internal division. It has sweet juicy flesh which of red or pink color along with black seeds. There is also the cultivation of seedless varieties around the world. You can enjoy watermelon in various forms, like you can eat it raw, pickled or in cooked form. How to grow watermelon. Watermelon is a juicy summer fruit and it is loved by kids and also adults. This summer fruit needs warm temperature for its growth and it has a long growing season. It means that the day temperature has to be warm with good amount of sunlight for growing the fruit. The day temperature must be up to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. This does not mean that those living in cold regions cannot get benefits of watermelon. They can enjoy growing watermelon from seeds indoors. They have to select the short season varieties of watermelon, otherwise it is a long season crop. They are ready in 70 to 90 days, however the numbers of days depend upon the variety of watermelon you are growing in your garden. Planting the watermelon. People living in warm regions can directly sow the watermelon seeds outdoors. Before you are sowing the seeds you must check the temperature of the soil. It has to be at least 70 degrees Fahrenheit, otherwise there will be poor germination. The vines of watermelon are tender, so you have to wait for passing time of frost because frost is unsafe for the plantation. People in colder regions should begin the indoor plantation 1 month before transplanting. The gardeners need to prepare the soil before plantation, and it can be done with seaweed, aged manure and compost. The pH of the soil has to around 6 and 6.8 because in this pH the yield is great. The vines need to be grown in raised rows such as hills, and there should be good drainage. They require some amount of sunlight and heat. Seeds need to be planted with a space of 2 feet apart. The width of the area has to be 5 foot. After the transplant the plantations should be covered with row covers. When the male and female flowers bloom on the vine, then row covers should be removed afterwards. Harvesting the watermelon. People often ask how long does it take for a watermelon to be ready. The time of harvesting the watermelons is very important because they cannot be sweetened once they are picked. Over 2 weeks they are completely ripe and ready to be harvested. You have to check for the ripeness by pressing with thumb, and if they sound hollow they are ripe. The color of the top of watermelon will have contrast between the stripes, which is also a sign of its ripeness. The bottom of the watermelon will have white color when not completely ripe and yellow bottom when fully ripe. When the tendrils are green then you have to wait for some time, however if the tendrils are completely dead then the watermelon will be either ripe or overripe. So note the time very carefully. Use a sharp knife to cut the stems. Storing the watermelon. Once harvested, watermelons can be stored up to 10 days without any problem. Make sure they are uncut. Once they are cut then they will remain fresh in the refrigerator only for 4 days, but not more than that. They should be wrapped tightly in plastic for their storage. Tips for taking care of watermelon. Gardeners recommend mulching the soil with black plastic as it hinders the growth of weed and also keeps the soil warm. The fruits developed are clean with it. Watering the plantation is very important until the fruits begin to form. When the plant is growing and blooming, you have water around 1 to 2 inches per week. Soil should not be waterlogged but moist. Water the base of the vines in the morning and avoid from overwatering. When the fruits begin to grow, then you have to reduce watering the watermelon. When the weather is dry, it will produce the sweet watermelons. When fertilizing the crop, make sure it has more nitrogen as compared to potassium and phosphorus. After the flowers begin to form, then you have used the fertilizer with less amount of nitrogen in it. You may prune the vines if you want in order to improve the productivity of vines. On the same plant the female and male flowers are formed. The male flowers are formed many weeks before the female flowers are grown. The male flowers will fall off. The female flowers with swollen bulb around the base will remain there on the vine and it will bear the fruit also. Pollination is needed for blossoms. And it is done naturally. When this fruit begins to ripe, then you have be careful so that rotting can be prevented. For that you have to use cardboard for lifting the fruit by placing it between the soil and the fruit. Thanks for watching.